have Rosecleer Marie, who's a culinarian by trade, artist by heart. Rosecleer Marie's love of the arts has always influenced her and is a prominent backdrop to her career. Previously obtaining a BS in graphic design, it would only be fitting for Rosecleer to attack the culinary world from an artist's point of view. After earning a certificate of culinary arts from Le Cordon Bleu, Rosecleer took an opportunity with the seafood media as a culinary media intern, which sparked a new interest. Fascinated by food media and production while in New York City, Rosecleer also immersed herself at ICE, the Institute of Culinary Education, in an in-depth food styling and food photography course. Through this course, Rosecleer built a great foundation for the industry, taught by some of the most renowned. While whether a private dinner, food shoots, or social media content, Rosecleer enjoys working with creatives to execute a dope culinary work. Welcome, Rosecleer.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Next, we have Gabriela Ramos. Gabriela Ramos is an LA-based chef who studied nutrition and holistic cooking at the Natural Gourmet Institute in 2017. She is co-owner of Casa de Lola, a Caribbean farm-to-table catering and event company. Her Dominican and Puerto Rican roots play a key role in her approach to cooking, highlighting food, family recipes, and techniques. Gabriela considers cooking her spiritual practice and believes food has the power to heal and build community. She shares this philosophy with her community through her private chef work, pop-ups, and catered events. Welcome, Gabriela.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
And either one of you can answer or both, but what made you fall in love with culinary art?
For me, as a kid, I was always just fascinated with like playing outside in the mud, or literally like copying my mom in the kitchen, watching her sort of like cut ingredients or tear, herbs or whatever she was doing. I was just fascinated with like working with my hands, if that makes sense. So I feel like food was always this fun medium for me, and I always just loved being in the kitchen. Definitely, a natural kind of love that I had at a very young age. My parents are both really amazing cooks, and my family, I would say my whole family is. So a lot of our gatherings and a lot of, the way that we are together to this current day is always through food. So um, I loved cooking shows too as a kid. I loved the Food Network, and I was like, okay, you can actually do this. You can be a professional chef, in this world. And um, to me, it's an art. So I always was just attracted to it. It's fun, and I didn't know I was going to be a chef as a kid, but as I got older, I was like, okay, yeah, I think I want to do this. So.
So I didn't grow up with like a super like chefy mom or parent that can really, really cook. My mom was like baked chicken, rice, and broccoli, like, and spaghetti. So I grew up like that, but I grew up in a divorced household, right? So in the summer times, I would go visit my dad in New York. And my dad is like, we're having sushi, we're going out here. So I think naturally being a foodie and loving food, whether it's baked chicken and rice and broccoli, or having those summers with my dad where he kind of brought in, it was like fun time summer and you can eat more interesting foods. I think that naturally sparked like, dad, look at all this other cool stuff to try, and dumplings and all of that.
Yes.
So I think that's what sparked the like cool interest, because if you're just eating like the basics, kind of the simple stuff at home, and in the summer times I was doing that, I just got super excited. And then I would say as I got older, same thing. I was obsessed with Food Network. Come home from this is probably definitely after college. You put on the news or whatever, but then I would put on Food Network and just watch the different shows, competitions. And it was kind of like you said, it's like, you know what, this could be a career. Like it's a passion of mine. I enjoy food, but I always saw it as like something on the side or for fun, but it could be a career. And I said the same thing. I said, you know what, maybe I can be a private chef. And then from being a private chef, I was aware of food media, and I then branched that way. So I would say that's kind of how I got my start. Just being a foodie myself, but then being aware of the different types of foods and getting excited about it.
Is there enough diversity? Do you see a lot of women that look like you? Is it opening up or is it kind of really stiff?
Feel like it's opening up just in a short span of time that I've been in the industry. I've been in the industry for about 10 to 12 years now. And on the latter end of that, I mean, because of social media, you see all these like black and brown women like doing pop-ups and catering things and starting their wine companies and sauce companies. But I feel like 10 years ago, you did not see that. So yes, I feel like there's a boom and a surge and there is a lot of diversity, but I feel like it's very new, you know. And then in regards to presentation or representation on the big stage, you still only see the one or two chefs. You know, the if it's a judge panel, you got the one black chef or the, you know. So but I think grassroots are like down on the ground. It's a lot of us, I think.
I do agree with Rose. I mean, I've been in the industry for like, I want to say 10 years. And when I first started out, after culinary school, working in the fine dining world, um, all the chefs are white, they're all male. I saw maybe one sous chef that was a woman of color. And so me sort of being a self-taught chef, then going into the fine dining world was sort of like, whoa, okay, I always felt confident as a chef. I knew that I knew how to throw down and cook so many kinds of dishes. And I felt confident in my ability because I was already sort of doing my own thing with Casa de Lola, but I knew that I wanted to kind of step out into the food industry and really work in kitchens and also work in these very tough kitchens. I gave myself that like challenge and I said, okay, yeah, I am going to go into the fine dining world. Let's see what this is all about. And I remember feeling like, okay, yeah, everyone in charge here doesn't look like me. And it's very intimidating. Um, I like always kind of go back to the show the bear and like it's really like that, his experience going, or going back to those memories of him being in that kitchen. Like I remember chefs being very like aggressive and tough and in your face, and I like didn't know how to handle that because that's not how I um learned how to cook. That's not what I saw, you know, in the kitchen. Like I didn't know that that kind of behavior existed. And
It's
I'm
very
like, wait,
toxic.
huh?
It's very toxic.
Very toxic. So yeah, I could go on and on. I've experienced really crazy stuff in that world, and then working in like smaller restaurants and feeling like, okay, I'm going to take a break from that very like toxic, aggressive, in your face behavior. But then you still find that at the
Mhm.
smaller restaurants. And
Mhm.
so, like, it was such a journey, such a roller coaster. But I remember feeling like, okay, like, I got this. Like, I have to, take on this challenge because I knew that I was able to do it. But did I see people like me? Not really back then. But when I worked in other spaces, that's when I started to see women of color or people of color like in these roles. And I was like, okay, finally, but it took a while. I didn't see it until maybe 4 to 5 years ago, when I was really
Yeah.
in my role with this food company that worked in schools, and all of the chefs were people of color, which was beautiful to see and beautiful to be a part of because I just didn't experience that in the fine dining world. And
Yeah.
that was hard. I had a hard time. I felt like I just didn't fit in and I didn't fit that mold. And there's always this kind of rebellious spirit that we all have. And I'm like, I don't want to say we chef. I don't want to be so militant because I just felt like I don't really want to be a part of this. I kind of don't want to conform, but I had to in order to survive in that environment, that world. So it was tough. The bear is like pretty on point with like those feelings of like, the CDC's like, no, you're gonna throw that out. You're gonna, that's not good enough. And so thinking back to that time, I'm like, ooh, that was that
Right.
was um that was real. And but it really like shaped, my career after that. So
Yeah, I'm sure
That's
you
yeah.
were able to take
crazy.
a lot of good from that. I'm sure
Oh,
you,
totally.
yeah,
Totally. Yeah, it's always you have to take the good out of these experiences. And definitely toxic culture that, I want to get away from, and that we have to sort of like start to rebuild and reimagine like how we can run kitchens. Like it doesn't.
yeah. The way the Michelin star, and if you watch The Bear, that's where he's coming from, that type of experience. So when you do high end and you work in Michelin, they train in a brigade type style, military style. So it's very militant. So you line up, they're checking your uniform. You got to make sure things are pressed and crisp and clean. So it's from how you even look all the way down to your plating. And it's a lot of ego, it's a lot of assholes. I mean, it's just a lot of that. And so you have to have a lot of tough skin, like she's saying, to get through that. And it makes you sharp, and your skills are elevated, but it's like your personal,
Yeah.
emotional, like how,
Yeah.
I knew that life wasn't for me. So I went straight into private chefing because I was like,
Yeah.
no, I'm too sensitive for that. And I'm like, it's food. Like, why are we so
That's
serious?
what I'm saying. Like it's food. It's supposed to make you feel good and happy. That's insane.
But yeah, that's to explain at least why the history of it is like that, because it starts from just this very militant lineup,
Mhm.
perfection, measuring, like all of that. So
Yes, what are your thoughts, or have you seen it as well, regarding this new wave of taking home food and making it, on this elite stage, but we're not the ones creating them.
So it is disappointing to see like, non-chefs of color cooking South Asian food, or, Mexican food. It's just all around us. And I think it's just part of the industry, you know, and I feel like it's something that, definitely bothers us. It's not fun to see that. But I think that's the work in itself. It's like, okay, how do we make our mark, and how do we like share our stories, and keep it, true, and keep it authentic, and um it's just as disappointing, unfortunately. Like it was constant, my work environment. It's like, oh, I have these ideas for these dishes. Who's getting the credit? The head chef, or the CDC, or whoever is really in charge. And yeah, that's part of our food industry.
there's so many like Nigerian, like, Nigerian restaurant or a brand new vegan Mexican, like, and it's us opening it, just trying to make it more refined. But I haven't seen like maybe a traditional restaurant and maybe it's just like very high end Caucasian, kitchen or whatever, cooking oxtail. I feel like I haven't seen that. So if it is our food, it's usually our people and they're trying to elevate it and they're still charging the prices, but I feel okay about it because it's like at least it's
Oh
us doing
yeah. Oh
having
yeah.
our space. But I
Yeah.
feel like I see that a lot in LA now. They're opening so many of their own standalone stores and restaurants if they started as a pop-up, and it's just like a really cool movement out here. So that's why I'm kind of in between, because I'm like, I'm sure the whole appropriation and culture vulture, all of that stuff is
Yeah.
happening. But I feel like out here in LA, it's like, yeah, you could get so many different things, and it's us that's making it.
So
Yeah.
many new spots now. And
Right.
I'm
And
like, oh, wow,
Instagram,
that
social,
didn't exist when I was here. Or so
right.
chefs that are here cooking their food. And
Mhm.
it's exciting. It's exciting
Yeah,
to be sort of around it, and being able to like try all of these new places.
exactly. Feel so
Yeah.
proud, and social media
Yeah.
is really helping with that awareness. And I feel like a lot of the ethnic foods, we call it ethnic foods, right? That people would normally be intimidated to try. Now they're like, you know what? I'm gonna bring our culture, bring our food, make it like fine dining, and have you come try, fufu and things like that. And then people are like,
Yeah.
oh, I want to
Mm.
try it, and then
Oh,
they're
I love it.
$30.